Hello, everyone. My name is Kelly Dodge. I am a gold leader with the company. I have been in the business since June of 2023, so just about 9 months. And in that time, I have found great success. I do work my business hard every single day. I work it like a business. I believe that if you work your business like a business, and or even like a job and show up every day, you also can be successful. Oh, excuse me. I also believe in thinking outside the box. I believe in never being a secret agent and always marketing your business everywhere and anywhere that you go. So I have found several different ways that I can market my business in my local communities, and today we're going to talk about just one of those ways, and that is my library, my local library. I have always been plugged into my local library. Um, my whole life, I've been plugged into my library. I'm frugal, and so I know that it does help authors to buy books, but I'm very frugal, and I like to go to the library to get my books. I am also a homeschool mom, so we spend a great deal of time in our libraries, checking out books. Like we are the family who brings a rolly suitcase or a wagon in and we fill it up, right? Especially if we're doing some kind of a study on a certain topic or subject. We will check out every book that's in my entire state because we do have the ability to borrow from other libraries within our state. We will fill or we will request every book on the subject and take them home and just dive deep into them. So, like I said, I've always loved our libraries. There's so many resources beyond checking out a book. All right. So, um, just give me a raise of hands if you guys have a library card or you love your library. I'm just curious because I am a huge book person and I am in like book clubs and book groups on Facebook and stuff because I absolutely love to read. I read I read at least 100 books a year, at least. Last year, I've been working my business pretty hard, but last year, before I started this business, I had read over 100 books by March, um, in in March. So I find that there are a lot of people in those groups who don't utilize their library or even have a library card, even though they're avid readers. They're buying all their books, and so I'm always curious to know who is utilizing their libraries. And it's never too late to go get a card. Yeah, okay, you've got a library card, but you don't get to go often. Yeah, we schedule our library time in our calendars. Of course, it probably has a lot to do with us being homeschoolers, but we stop by there several times a week. And yeah, I can't tell you enough about the library. I say get a card, and you will be surprised at the amazing perks that you can get with your library. I just moved into an apartment the 1st of February. And so I our library even loans out artwork. So I have it's not the first time that I've done it, but my daughter and I both, my daughter's 10, we each picked out a piece of artwork and to put up in our new apartment. So you can keep those for 6 months. There are libraries who rent out equipment, tools, fishing equipment. You can also share passes like to local like park admissions, state parks, and things like that. There's all kinds of amazing things that you can do at your library. Ours has uh, I have a new apartment. I'm recently divorced, starting over, completely over from having nothing. I lost everything. And our library even has plants. So we have a little plant library, and those you don't have to return. But there's a wonderful librarian, Molly, at our library who started it, and she propagates plants, and you can check them out and take them home. All these beautiful baby starter plants. And so I've gotten quite a collection. So, at any rate, I highly recommend that you check your libraries out and see what's available. Sometimes you can even get cards for other libraries that aren't maybe in your or that isn't your designated local library. For example, I live right on the Michigan-Ohio border, and so if you work in Ohio or you there's different some criteria, you qualify to get a card in that state as well. So we actually my son-in-law works in Ohio, so we actually have cards for Ohio libraries as well as Michigan libraries. So that's really cool. But even I want to say that even if you are not, that's not your local library, if it's within driving distance, I take a day and I drive around to all the libraries. I take my grandkids and my 10-year-old daughter, and they absolutely love it because each library has some, really cool stuff. And I just go through and I go library to library and I drop my stuff off there. So don't think that you're limited to just the library that's designated for you. All right, so I'm going to get into it. This slide here. Whenever there is events, I highly recommend that you get involved and you mix and mingle with the people in your library. I find that people who frequent libraries are sometimes a little well, I think everybody can visit the library, but I find that people who visit the library are more likely to travel. Okay. They're interested in learning and they're interested in exploring as well, learning, physically by going to places. So I think that it's a really great place to plug into people who travel frequently. Get involved with whatever is going on in your library. We have amazing events at our libraries. They have kids events, they have adult events, we have movies every month, they do classic movies, they do so many amazing things, but getting involved and frequenting your library, I know we're all busy, but I find that whenever I actually do leave the house, and sometimes I'm like, I don't want to leave the house. I need to stay home and work, work, work. But every time I leave the house, I gain a client. And I'm not even exaggerating. Every time I leave the house, I gain a client or I make a contact with a potential client. And I always think to myself, oh, yes, it was so worth it to leave the house. I need to do this more. Because when we are in person, right? Everything's so virtual right now, but when we're in person, and we are rubbing elbows with the people in our community, that is going to build trust, right? We're face to face with people, and it's not a stranger over the internet anymore. And so they're more likely to trust you, and they've met you. People get a vibe, right, from people that they meet. And so if you're friendly and outgoing, it is especially helpful. I'm one of those people who's never met a stranger. I talk to people wherever I go. I can stand in the grocery store in the aisle, and if I see someone just like confused and not sure where where something is, I'll just say, "Hey, what you looking for?" And I'll tell them what aisle it's in, right? And so every now and then I get people who look at me like I'm crazy, but I'll talk to anyone. If you've been on my trainings before, you can tell already, that I'm very long-winded and I love to talk. I've always been that way. Okay, so here are some ways that you can get involved that you may not have thought of. There are book clubs. We have several book clubs at our library. We've got like Just the Facts, which is like nonfiction book clubs. We have um, just ladies groups. We have Mom's Night Out book clubs, all kinds of book clubs, as well as the kids book clubs. And so I have my daughter involved in several different book clubs, and it's a way to talk to other parents when you're there too. And then, usually while the kids are doing their book club, it's more of a chance to chat and get to know other parents, which is then an opportunity to talk about your business. because everyone is always talking about travel. And I didn't realize it until I started in this business. Now our radar is up, right? And everyone's talking about where they've been or where they're going or things like that. Travel comes up so much in conversation. So I don't seem predatory when I am talking about travel. I wait for it to come up naturally. Somehow, some way, I will reference my business if they don't start talking about travel. Uh, because people ask all the time, right? What's the main question people ask? Like, what do you do? Right? Everyone wants to know how we make money and how we make a living. And so that comes up quite often. Social clubs. There's social clubs at the libraries, garden clubs, different things. Just all different kinds. It depends on the library. Check your library website. Get involved in activities as well if you have kids. If you don't have kids, obviously, then that might not be good. But there's also like learning workshops at the libraries that you might be able to get involved in or stop by. We have things on tax preparation. That's fresh into my mind right now, as well as learning computer skills, or we'll have job fairs, right? Job fairs are big. Like we have we had one last year. I don't know if they've done it yet or scheduled one this year, but for resume help, that's a great one to go to, right? Go to it, participate in it, right? And you can always present the opportunity to someone or have your flyers ready. I have flyers that are already made that I leave all over the place. And that's a great way if people are looking for a job. I will tell you, I had been looking for 8 months when I discovered this opportunity. Of course, I thought I was only going to do it in the interim, until I found a quote unquote real job. And here we are. So, people who are maybe not open in the beginning to a business opportunity, if they have been looking for work for a while, they may be more open to it. Like, well, I have to do something. I'll try anything at this point. And I'm so happy that I did. I'm actually very, very thankful for the thousands of places that I applied to in 8 months. It was a ton, thousands of job applications that I put out, and even interviews that I went through, second, third, and fourth interviews. I am very thankful that they did not hire me, right? Like, um, because here I am, and this is an absolutely amazing thing. So, if your library doesn't have something already available to you, feel free to create it. Okay. My granddaughter created a chess club at our library because she really loves chess. They didn't have a chess club. Now they have a weekly chess club. It meets every week. People from all ages come. The seniors from the senior center come and kids come, and it's absolutely amazing. So if something isn't available, create it. Maybe you have a specific interest, and that's a great way. It doesn't always have to be about travel. It could be just an interest, okay? Like gardening, right? We have our gardening club, different things like that. We have an herb club at our library. Maybe you're into something. We do yoga at our library. They have dance classes. There's all kinds of stuff. All right, so start a travel club. All right, this is a sign from my library. This is my library when you enter it. It's a beautiful, beautiful library. And this is a travel club. All right. They call it Travel with Friends. And every month they meet on a Sunday, the third Sunday. And there is a guest speaker that will talk about their travels. This is an amazing way. I highly recommend that if you don't have one, which you probably don't, this is brand new at my library. If you don't have one, talk to the librarians. The head librarian would probably be your best, and ask if you could start a travel club. I would not go in there and say, I'm a travel agent, I'm looking for clients or whatnot. I would just say, I love to travel. I would love to start a travel club, and see how you could start that in your community. And then you're going to obviously advertise it. They will advertise it. We have a huge bulletin board of community events. They'll advertise it, they'll put it on the website. They will make flyers about it because they always want to promote their activities. So they're going to do 99% of the marketing for you, but you can also market that as well, right? Share it in your local Facebook groups and try to get as many people as you can to join this travel club. And so you could do it monthly, whatever time works most convenient for you. If you don't have a guest speaker, you can definitely be the guest speaker for the first one. And you can go ahead and talk about something, a place that you've traveled to. You can, our library has a very large community room. You could set up tables or you could set it up in like a theater style seating, with just chairs. You could have some snacks, maybe, or a drink or something, and then even just bottles of water or what have you. Again, those are tax write-offs, and they usually have some kind of a projector or a screen where you can hook up your laptop, and you can have a little slideshow of your pictures of your travels, and they don't always even have to be your own photos of your travels, just maybe a destination you've been to, and you can get some really great pictures and talk about the places that you've traveled. Now our group does one particular destination at a time. So it's not a guest speaker talking about all of the different places they've traveled. This week it's going to be Iceland. Okay, so that's going to be one person talking about their Iceland trip. So once you get people in, or once you get people coming, let's say you present your very first one, then you can ask them for volunteers who would like to get on the schedule to be the monthly presenter. Just let me know what month you would like to do it and what the destination is, and we will put you on the schedule. And then you can basically have the whole thing kind of running on its own. And you can have a small table set up. Usually the libraries have tables, you don't have to bring your own. And you can set up a table with your collateral that you have that you can give. Of course, you're going to have business cards, flyers, things like that, kind of like the way you would set up a vendor event. And that is you can kind of do it like, um, not to put a lot of emphasis on it, just have it there and available for them so that you don't seem like you're being pushy or it's a sales pitch or anything like that, if you know what I mean. So I would just be very casual. And by the way, I am a travel agent. If you have any travel needs, I'd be happy to help. Right? They're getting to know you, especially if you are guest speaking, you're kind of the host or the MC. And so, you will be, introducing the person who is going to present that month and sharing a little bit about yourself, right? Because once they get to know us, it gains trust. And of course, if you're in the local community, they're going to trust you more. So I think that this is absolutely a fabulous way to get the word out. And of course, people will invite other people, especially if it's a very exciting place that they're going to talk about. And once you gain clients, you're going to get those referrals, right? So when you're there, you're going to make connections. Of course, you're going to make sure you have all your brochures, flyers, catalogs, and opportunity flyers. Don't sleep on the fact that some of these people who love to travel may be interested in the opportunities. So I always have opportunity flyers now with me. This is something I've started in the last 2 months, actually. I didn't do this in the beginning, but I have flyers now that I make and I actually stick them inside my catalogs. All of the brochures and stuff that I leave around, I now stick that inside. So they're also it's putting in the forefront of their mind that this is an opportunity, not just for them to book travel with me. So I've been sticking that inside. Always make sure that you have plenty of business cards. Of course, if you have Popple or any kind of an electronic business card, that's super helpful, right? I believe that business cards end up on the bottom of purses or in the trash can. I feel that brochures and catalogs are much harder to lose and less likely to be thrown away. I write on the front of my catalogs, please take me home so that when I'm leaving them everywhere, they don't think they're stealing and they know that it's there for them to take home, right? Especially if it's doctor's offices and stuff like that, where there's magazines and such. I also write on the back of it, or anywhere you could write it, but I write on the back, please recycle. Give me to a friend. Okay, so that I feel like it's less likely for them to get rid of it. They get that recycle guilt, and so they will maybe pass it on to someone else. They're less likely to throw it away. So I use my collateral more than my business cards for those reasons. And they're a heck of a lot more fun to look at than my business card. So, and of course, they're going to get that fire to travel when they see, the amazing places that they can go. Um, so I also suggest I should have put it on here as a bullet point, but make sure that you get a QR code so that people can scan it. All right. Some people are QR code people. You get a QR code that is going to link them directly to um, maybe a consultation, make a consultation with me. I have my opportunity flyers have a QR code that takes them directly to my Calendly to schedule an appointment. And I have had people come to meetings that saw my flyer on the bulletin board at the library. So it absolutely positively works. There's a job board. I'll get to that in just a second, but QR codes are huge in today's day, and you can get a QR code on Canva. Um, I've actually created this presentation on Canva instead of on Google Slides like I usually do. I'm pretty happy with it. But Canva is amazing. Canva is free. There is also a paid version. I highly recommend you utilize it for flyers, and you can even create business cards there, your logos, as well as getting that QR code created. I absolutely love Canva. All right, so now your bulletin board. So my local library has a huge bulletin board. Well, they have a couple of them, but they're in the copier printer resource room. There's a huge bulletin board that is for. They have a section that has community events, a different board, and then they also have help wanted. And so everyone pins their things to these boards. I have pinned I pinned my flyer there, and I also pinned some business cards there. And then I highly recommend that when you go around to your local libraries, and this isn't limited to local libraries, I take push pins with me everywhere. I have a little container of push pins that is in my tote bag that I carry with me everywhere with my brochures. And whenever there's an opportunity, I use those push pins to put up flyers and lighter things. Leave a good amount wherever you go. So this isn't limited to libraries. Leave a good amount. 10 to 20 I would say, different brochures. I have like at least one or two of every kind of my brochure that I have sitting at my library. Disney, all the cruise lines, etc. Speaking of collateral, I do have a video on my YouTube that has instructions on how to order collateral, and as well as other kinds of marketing videos. But um, I even if you don't think that you're going to book or you haven't booked that particular vendor, I still get collateral for them. So Oceania Cruises, Canard, they have Norwegian, they have beautiful, beautiful catalogs, thick catalogs, right? Like it's like mini Sears catalog type. Um, product. And so I get all of those because I really don't care what I'm putting in my client's hands or a potential client's hands. I just want to make sure that they are getting my contact information, right? So they could absolutely have a Carnival cruise brochure, but they'll probably call and say, "Hi, I have your Carnival cruise, but do you book Royal Caribbean?" I have a lot of people who will ask me, "Oh, I see you do all inclusives, but do you also book cruises?" Because people don't realize that we can book anything. So I do not, I don't limit myself to what vendors and suppliers I use for collateral. And you never know, someone may, upgrade, so to speak, to one of those luxury cruise lines. At any rate, I'll go ahead and move forward. So again, you want to visit all of the local branches that you have in your area. It doesn't matter uh, if you have a card there, you are also, you can go in and you can leave your collateral. Now, I'm going to say this, and I'm not going to, say who it was, and I'm not trying to like, put anybody, in, anyway. Um, I I go in and I do not ask permission to put my collateral there. I do not ask permission if I can pin something to the bulletin board. I simply go in and do it. Kind of like it's better to beg forgiveness than ask permission. Okay, and so here's the thing, like, I did have an agent who said, "I asked at all of my local library branches, and they said, no, I could not put my things there," and I was like, "Oh, well, I do not ask." And she's kinda like, "Well, I like to follow the rules," and I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm a rule follower, I like to follow some rules too, but I also, wanna market my business, in any way that I can." And so I feel like, even if that I don't think that they would ever do it, but even if they were to say, "Oh, we don't want this here," you've at least the person who's taking it away from the area is being exposed to your business, right? I guarantee they're going to look at them or take them home or something like that, right? Like maybe it's there, they don't allow them to be set out somewhere, but they're going to look at them, trust me. But um again, I believe that all the local libraries, it's absolutely fine, but you don't want to, you don't want to present it as you're trying to sell things, right? And you're going to be, and you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And restock regularly. Okay. So every time I visit the library, I've always got stuff with me. I stop in and I check. I will say that I don't check my other libraries as much as I do my local, but I'm always making sure that I keep it going. And it's really nice when I see the piles deleted. And this goes for every place that you go. Make sure you've got stuff with you. Okay. We say this all the time, right? Anywhere that there is a waiting room is a place for you to put things. I give them to my servers whenever I am at a restaurant. I on my way out, I'll leave a few at the bar because the bartender or even the patrons there like to look at things like that. A lot of times you have um, single people that are sitting up at the bar, and by single, I just mean like a one person, right? And so them having something to look at if they're even if they're watching the TV or what have you, they'll definitely look at stuff. And so sometimes you'll have, the bartenders will at least the people that are right there that see you handing it to them, they'll probably have the patrons look at it. So, again, everywhere I go, I leave stuff in the vestibules inside. So sometimes, you go to a restaurant and there's that vestibule area, and sometimes they have a bulletin board there, and sometimes they have a little like the windowsill, so to speak, where you can lay things. People lay business cards. I lay a stack of catalogs, brochures, whatever you want to call them. I lay a stack there, and every time I go back, they're always all gone, or they're depleted. So I can see that they're not throwing them away because there was 10 and now there's 5, right? So I know that people are taking them and the staff isn't just throwing them away. So they definitely allow that kind of thing in your community. So again, always have your collateral with you. So this is just, an example, like if you have a resource room at your library, this is a lot like my library has a long counter space here. And my library, this is filled with like brochures and flyers and things like that. And then, the bulletin board with events and sometimes they'll have one just for jobs. And so that's a great place to put your flyers. If it's a community event, you could put your um like a make a flyer for like a travel ad. Sorry, I couldn't think of what I was gonna say. But I lay my stuff and I did take a picture and post on my Facebook. I should have included it in here. But I have my collateral in my library in 6 different spots just in the room, right? Because I pinned some business cards, I pinned flyers, a couple of different kinds of flyers, and then I lay my catalogs sporadically, so to speak, throughout the counter area with the other things so that it's, wherever someone looks, they can see something of mine. I'll put like Disney stuff in one area and I'll put cruise stuff in another area. And so I just really try to expose it wherever I can because people really do use these resource rooms. They're amazing. You can do so many things in your library. You can laminate, you can print, you can copy. They mine has like a circuit machine or whatever that thing is. I haven't used them. I think it's like a lot of script workers use them, maybe. I don't know. But all kinds of amazing things that they have at your libraries. All right, so here's another cool thing that I like to do at libraries and bookstores. I go into the travel section and I put a business card in every single book on travel. I also do it in like ones that are like geography related books, let's say someone's learning about something, or even if they're going to travel somewhere, they may not do a travel book, but they may do a book. It's in a just a little bit different section in the nonfiction area where it's just about a particular destination, right? So I put my business cards inside those, but I also put them inside the travel magazines or any magazine. Now, I don't put my business cards inside of there because business cards slip out um, a little easier of magazines. I will put like a paper, not as large as a full sheet of paper, but maybe let's say you took a regular sheet of paper and you had four you cut that into fourths. Something like that size, like, when you open a magazine and there's a subscription thing that you can tear out the little card, something like that size, and I stick it inside of, the magazines. Those are less likely to slip out, but magazines people read regularly. There's people who come in every week, if it's a weekly or a monthly magazine, and they check out those magazines, and so if you're putting your business cards in there, I feel those are going to get even more exposure than your travel books, right? Because they're being checked out more often. At the top here, I have new releases, right? So anything, a brand new book or a really hot author that people really like to read. Maybe even those ones that they set. I don't know if your library does it, but ours sets books up on the top, right? They're standing up, they have the books standing up or they have them in those slanted shelving, anything that's new. And so I just go through and I just stick my stuff inside of there, right? And because new releases are more likely to be checked out. Um, Feel free also, you guys, in the chat box, if you have any tips that you know of, please put those in the chat box and I'll go through those because I love to learn new things and everyone else can learn new things. So another thing is to never be a secret agent. Okay, we say this all the time. We want to make sure that we are exposing our business to everyone and anyone that we come in contact with, if it's appropriate, right? But I will tell you that I find ways no matter what. I've got maybe an odd sense of humor. I love sarcasm and all that kind of thing. And so I was at the doctor. Um 2 months ago, I want to say. I went to the doctor and it was a brand new doctor. My doctor, this has happened to me 3 times. My doctor left the practice and I have to get someone new within the practice. So this was a doctor I was meeting for the first time. And so she had to get to know me pretty well, because they have to do all that, right? And so she says, you guys are gonna love this. She's like, okay, well, if you want, I'm gonna write you a script so that you can get your mammogram because you are due for your mammogram and whatnot. And of course I'm like, oh, you know how it is, right? Like that's not the most fun thing that we want to do, that's right behind getting our pap smear, right? So she says that and she goes, "If you feel like it." And I said, "Yeah, if I feel up to it, I'll reward myself with a cruise. Um if I go ahead and bite the bullet and do it." And so that's my quirky sense of humor. But it opened up the door for me to talk about travel, right? It was just she laughed, she thought it was funny, but it really was a way. I hadn't had an opportunity before that, and it just popped into my head. And I'm one of those people who don't have a filter, and so whatever pops into my head, I say it. And so um, that carried out to then the reception area because they were joking about it. So that carried out to the reception area. So the entire office staff was able to hear that I'm a travel agent and I could leave them with a brochure because I always carry a tote bag my daughter actually made. I need to take a picture of it so I can share it, and I haven't done that yet. Um, my daughter got me this beautiful tote bag. It's nice and big and it's got pockets on the outside. She bought it and she embroidered my logo on the bag. It's black and my logo's, a lot of pastel or whatever. She embroidered the logo on the entire side of it. So I carry my bag and they can see my logo and but also and so I always hang it on a chair. You go to a restaurant, you hang your bag on the chair. I always hang it so that people can see my logo on it. But I take it with me everywhere I go. I grab my purse, I grab that, and it's always with me full of collateral. And my goal every time I leave the house is for it to be empty when I come home. So that's always my goal. And I just pass it out wherever I go. I will tell you, I hand brochures to the McDonald's drive-through person, right? It could be a teenager. That's okay. They're going to take it inside the restaurant. Someone's going to look at it. They'll probably take it home to their parents or what have you. But I am marketing everywhere I go. I'm handing someone a catalog. I rolled down my window once in a parking lot because someone was parked right next to me and there was someone standing talking to them through their window, right? So they were talking to them, they were standing there and their back was to me and I could see that their sweatshirt, it was a hoodie and it was a destination. You could tell they had went somewhere. It's one of those souvenir sweatshirts that you get. I rolled down my window. My daughter hid her face. She was like, "Oh my gosh." I rolled down my window and I said, "Hey, I see your sweatshirt there. It looks like you like to travel. Can I give you this brochure? Can I give you this catalog?" So again, I will talk to anyone, anywhere. I will find a reason. But even if she thought I was crazy, she took it home and she looked at it. So all right, that's the end of my slides that I have for you. I'm going to go ahead and look in the chat box and see what's going on. I will keep recording this while we're doing that because I think that your ideas will be helpful. All right. Yes, the libraries. Oh, Nikki, you got to get to a library. You can rent movies. My daughter likes to rent CDs. Uh, I mean, oh, they even have toys you can check out. Like my daughter, the one library we go to has amazing things. She checked out a metal detector. She's checked out musical instruments. You can rent out speakers and like electric guitars, yeah, karaoke machines, all kinds of stuff. It just depends on what your local community has. Um Yeah, okay, I think I answered that. Yeah, so you could be a guest speaker, and if it's not somewhere you've traveled to, you could still just you could figure out a way to highlight that. Um, yes. Oh, the luggage. Yes. Halia, thank you. Yes, the luggage at the stores. Yes. Putting them in books even in those Target. That's a good place too because but bookstores. I've went to bookstores and I've put my stuff inside the books at the bookstores too, right? And so again, we're going to beg forgiveness and not ask permission. We're just going to be sly and we're going to slip them in there, right? Because I'll tell you, if you're passionate enough about building your business, then you are driven to work your business in um, unconventional ways, right? Like I'm willing to do anything, right? I'm a single mom. Like this has to work for me. This has to. I am going to. I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and market myself to someone. What's the worst thing that could happen? They don't book travel with me. Okay. Well, they weren't booking travel with me before, right? So it's a win-win, really. Um, so yes, bookmarks. That's a great idea. Why didn't I think of that? It's so funny because like we're homeschoolers and so the kids exchanged other things besides candy when we did this Valentine's thing. This huge group of kids, right? And so my granddaughters handmade bookmarks. Why didn't I think of bookmarks, Nikki? Brilliant, brilliant. I'm putting that on my to-do list right now. I'm going to make bookmarks. And if you have a laminator, that's even better, right? You can do we would make bookmarks quite a bit, and if you laminate a whole page, you can get, like, I don't know, 8 or 10 on a page, and you just cut them out. Oh, great. Oh, you're welcome. I'm so glad that you guys got something out of it. I was afraid that it might not be helpful, even though I think it's helpful. I wasn't sure if you guys would like it. So I'm really glad that we had this. I'm going to record this and I may do another topic next month other than the library of ways that you can market your business. And so absolutely love that you guys were here. Um, okay, Sandy says check online labels. For $20, you can create collateral labels. Yes, absolutely. You could also do the Avery. I was trying to think of the name. So Avery labels. I used those before. I sold jewelry years ago, like 20 years ago. I sold jewelry. And so I used to just, you make a template for that is specific to that label. There's like numbers that'll tell you Avery 2648, whatever. And so your computer, um Word or whatever will have the template so it knows exactly, and you just put this thing in, you stick the label sheet in your printer and it prints all your labels for you. All right. And so I don't know, you get like 50 sheets in a box or whatever. And now you have labels. I handwrite right now just because I'm really cheap and I handwrite all my stuff. I just do it while I'm like watching something or usually it's a training video. But I've definitely done that in the past. Labels are definitely easy. And when I do labels, I can have my daughter or granddaughters put the labels on my catalogs for me, and they think it's fun, and I'll pay them like a buck. I'll be like, "Do you wanna work for me?" And they'll put the labels on for me, right? So I'm outsourcing, right? And they love to pretend anyway to be working. Um, they play hotel, and now they've always played pretend, right? But now they play travel agent, and it's hilarious. All right, guys. I'm going to stop recording here, and I can open it up for more questions.